So the number one question I got from my survey is, what can you do to protect yourself during the recession? So I'm going to be talking about things that I'm currently doing and did and I'm planning for. There's roughly 4 or 5 things in my list, and I'll keep this video short. A majority of things are things that you can do. About 95% of things I'm about to mention is you can do them literally today. And so before I get to the list, the number one thing I do want to talk about is, like, if you haven't done already, cut your burn rate. If you're paying too much for something, cut it. Audit your finances. Like, you should be doing this regularly on a quarterly basis. Like, financial literacy, I learned this the hard way. We all learned this the hard way. Fuck, the money I made when I was younger doing the things that I did, I could have retired by now. But that's a whole different story. Anyways, so the number one thing is, number one, I'm keeping a portion of my liquid powder, which is cash, in USD. Now, what's happening today is a liquidity crisis. And in a liquidity crisis, cash is king temporarily, so short term, a little bit medium term. And the king of all cash is a US greenback. And if you look at all debt around the world, if you look at all values denominated in USD, and this is why within a liquidity crisis, there's no such thing as a safe asset. Gold, Bitcoin, silver, stocks, people sell for liquidity. And so why is it good to have the USD? Well, if you look up Brent Johnson's milkshake theory, I'm in that type of camp where everybody is using USD. It is the world reserve. And all debt is priced in USD. USD will be hunted down for the next foreseeable future. Like, I don't see anybody depegging USD. So USD is the currency of choice. This is going to cause a lot of issues for people living outside of USD because your currency is getting wrecked in the Forex markets. And so that being said, me as a Canadian, I already see it today, especially Australians. If you're Australian watching this, our currency is weak as fuck. I don't want to hold Canadian dollar whatsoever. Anything that I want to buy outside of Canada, specifically priced in USD, which pretty much everything is, I got to pay 20-30% premium on that. This is why it's going to cause a big issue when it comes to importing, exporting as well. That's a whole different video. So I'm holding portion of, I was going to say portion, but majority of my liquid cash in USD. And so the next thing that I'm doing is the gold standard, which is gold. So I just had Jim Rickards on, and we're talking about the importance of gold. Now, there's a misconception with gold. People assume it's an investment, that it gains massive value. Mind you, the context matters depending on when you entered within gold, no different than stocks. So if you entered Amazon 10 years ago, obviously your return is great. However, I don't view gold per se as an investment. I view gold as a hedge. Gold is used to deflect and stop inflation of your dollar, the buying power at the end of the day. I want to maintain my protection of my wealth. And when I talk about gold, I'm talking about physicality of gold. I'm not big on the camp on buying IOU certificates or paper gold. Mind you, obviously it's much easier. You can go online to a brokerage and get it right away. But I'm big on buying physical gold, which is really hard for governments or agencies to take away from you. Not impossible, but much more difficult than if you had your paper certificate. Whether you're buying bullion, whether you're buying coins, whether you're buying nuggets, whether you're buying whatever, but I'm big on the physicality of gold. And so it's an age-old story. Gold is king, but it's not per se as an investment. I just want to stress that out. It's to hedge. It's to hedge. It's to stop the inflation and the disappearance of the value of my shitty little Canadian dollar. Mind you, you guys live in the United States, you guys have it good. Like I mentioned, USD is one of my strategies here. I'm keeping all my cash in USD, not Canadian dollar. Canadian dollar is a joke of a joke of a joke. And so that's the next thing I'm doing. I'm buying physical, me personally, I'll tell you what, I'm buying physical coins. All right, on to the next. Bitcoin. This is no new news for you. I've been holding Bitcoin since the get-go, years and years ago, and I'm going to keep on holding Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is in a very unique position of its own. You're talking about an asymmetrical return possibility, which already people have had huge asymmetrical returns. You're looking at something that has a limited supply. So Austrian economics, 21 million Bitcoin. You have a halving coming up. So the price of Bitcoin mining rewards drops in half. And you have so many eyeballs on it, and censorship is, I don't want to get, I've said this a million fucking times. The third thing I'm doing is this is me personally, I'm looking into farmland. So I've been in the farming space for a while, meaning I've investigated it. I know farmers. I've actually spent time, a couple of weeks working on organic farm, and I've been fascinated by farmland. And specifically right now during the pandemic, we're seeing an issue with supply chain and a supply chain with food. And I think going in the future, having local regenerative farming is going to be huge. For example, Ontario, in the last 10 years, the return on farmland in Ontario has been 10% per year. Forget houses, forget apartment buildings, farmland where it's at. It's not just a property. It's not just an asset. You have the asset, which also produces you cash flow. The amount of yield they can produce in a quarter acre is great. If you guys missed it, go check out my interview I did with Curtis Stone when it comes to urban farming. And so I'm looking at putting some deals together for regenerative farming, circular farming, polyphase farming, whatever you want to call it. That's kind of my long-term bet. And then the next thing that I'm doing is, a lot of people can do this as well. I am looking to either invest, start, advise, or definitely get involved in e-commerce business, which products are $20 and under. But key thing over here, the products must stimulate a dopamine high. So people in the recession, in a depression, they need to be happy. And so people gravitate towards things that are dopamine stimulating. Coffee, chocolate, baby products, clothing. So let's talk about this. There's two categories. There's the vanity. So during recessions and depression, people like to support their dopamine with vanity. Then there is the chemical addiction. So chemical addiction is coffee. Chemical addiction is chocolate. It can be tea, biochemical. But the key thing is under $20. It's I don't have to think about it. It can be priced like $15. I click it, I buy it. Be great if it's only one SKU. So that's what I'm kind of focusing on, is e-commerce products below $20 that hit that dopamine high. So those are the things that I'm doing right now. The majority of things you can do yourself. This is what I'm currently doing. And the best thing to do for most people, like I said, is to really audit your situation, pause, and just wait it out. You know, the smartest people I know in finances are sitting on boatloads of USD cash, and they're just waiting and waiting and waiting. And mind you, we're not one of those people, but the things that I mentioned you can do. You know, if you have a little bit of non-USD cash, get some USD cash. If you haven't got some Bitcoin already, buy a little bit Bitcoin. If you're interested in the farmland, start investigating. Doesn't mean you have to buy farmland or be part of it. You know, there's many ways to get involved in it. Many different ways. And if you're interested in it, just shoot me an email. And for the e-commerce stuff, you can definitely do that. There's nothing stopping you from doing e-commerce. Find a product that you currently like. Maybe there's chocolate that you like. Make something better. Maybe there's a coffee you like. Make something better. Maybe there's a baby product you like. Make something better. Team up with somebody. Maybe you don't even start your own business. You do lead generation, like JV deal. Sky's the fucking limit. Anyways, that's a recession-proof type of business that people should get involved. So there you have it. That's what I'm currently doing. And if you have any questions for me, leave a comment below this video, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace out.